know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a renaissance, man. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the renaissance. You know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a renaissance, man.
Well, it's February 4th, 2026. And if you thought Groundhog Day was the Groundhog seeing his shadow was a bad omen, I mean, wait until you see the Jets coaching staff. Look, man, I'm your guy, Gunny. And today we're going to dissect the move that just went down in Florham Park. Um, Jets have officially hired Frank Reich as the new offensive coordinator. And I get it. I want to make sure I state this. I get it. I understand that the options were limited. I understand that it was a bunch of mid, you know what I'm saying, selections you could have had for that particular role. But I got to tell you, man, I just feel like the Jets with an opportunity here to, I don't know, maybe go the Roman route so you can go ahead and have at least an impact running game, or maybe even entice a guy like Brees Hall or whatever running back you bring into the building to be more dynamic, to have a dynamic running game. I think we might have missed the mark, right? I mean, I get granted. I'm not saying it's a no go in regards to bringing a guy like Greg Roman to maybe be the run game coordinator, but yeah, Jets fans, it's one of those days where you look at what the Jets have done, and you got to ask yourself, man, is this for the better? Um, I think the irony of all of this is that uh, Frank Reich and of course Aaron Glenn, they were teammates on that 1996 Jets team. You know what I'm talking about? That terrible Jets team that went 1-15 under Rich Kotite. Jeez, man, like it's I, you hire the past to go ahead and hopefully fix and impact the future. We all know that Aaron Glenn right now is the guy that doesn't have the support, I would say, of the building, not of the fans specifically, and yet him and now Frank Reich are the two heads of the 2026 Jets. And I'm saying that because, of course, you also know that Aaron Glenn is going to be calling plays defensively. So let's talk about Reich. So he's 64 years old, and he's going to wind up replacing Tanner Angstrom. Now, again, I'm going to state this as carefully as I can because I don't want people to come at me and think like, oh, I'm a Angstrom truther, because I'm not a truther for Angstrom. But what I am is a guy that realized the options for the New York Jets at offensive coordinator going into the season were going to be limited. They were going to be limited, and you know this because there isn't anyone right now watching the New York Jets that don't look at Aaron Glenn as being a coach on the hot seat, and seeing how they kind of dismantled the entire team in terms of coordinators, etc. Already was going to be kind of a, you know what I'm saying, kind of a caution marker, right? For any real offensive coordinator coming in here, already knowing that Aaron Glenn on the hot seat. So Tanner Angstrom, we let him go like 2 weeks ago, which to me, I think might have been premature. I ain't gonna lie. Might have been premature. Um, but yeah, man, Frank is 64. Okay, so I get it. 3-14 season 2025. You really can't really fight too hard for Tanner, but he did some good things that at least left you wondering if he had more time, another year, so to speak, could this first year play caller fine tune those things, right? He had some metrics, man, that were right up there on top of the league, but you had no quarterback to execute some of his play design, and that was a huge fault, like a huge disaster for him, right? Didn't have a quarterback he can rely on. Nevertheless, he gets fired. He gets let go. We got Miguel in the building. What's up, Miguel? Appreciate you, brother, as always. Ryu Ken, what's going on? Feel like it was Frank all along. They tried to make it seem like it was close, so it doesn't look as bad because if they effed up, so they just took their time. Yeah, no, I mean we all kind of knew it was going to be Frank Reich. I don't think that was really a surprise, right? I don't think it was really breaking news. I think for me, it's the fact that Greg Roman has shown interest in the role, and you're talking about a team without really an identity at the quarterback position right now. If you were going to potentially have a way to really impact the team offensively, a creative run designer like Greg Roman in terms of what he could do with the offense, I think could have gone a long way. Now, I'm not saying like, Frank Reich doesn't make that phone call to Greg and get him in the building as the run game coordinator, which I think would elevate this hire a little bit. But let's be honest, man. I think if you look at what this team has done so far in the offseason, it leaves very little to be desired. Jimmy, what's going on, man? Hey, man, Mr. Thursday, think of it. Hey, brother, Jimmy, appreciate you, dog. Yeah, man, the Green Bean is doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got his business going on right now. I know we did a couple of things. We did a show already last year. We're looking to do a couple maybe next year as well. But like, yeah, man, the Thursday thing of it was fun, man. It was a blast. Always had a great time with you guys. Love the audience, man. Like me and Green Bean, I felt like we had some good energy. But yeah, we will be doing some I guess guest appearances as the season progresses for I guess the draft, for the offseason, and then hopefully going into the season. So I appreciate you, Jimmy, making sure I pass it on to Green Bean as well to say that the our fellow fanatics want us to go ahead and kind of get back on screen together for a little bit. Miguel, you thoughts on Bart Scott expressing interest to be a Jets linebacker coach? Personally, I think it can't hurt. It can't hurt. At the very least, he'd be a fan favorite that you'd bring into the building to go ahead and potentially try to coach up this linebacker room who kind of fell flat this past season. I think you're going to probably be drafting a linebacker in this draft class as well. Somebody young who's multi-talented. I know some people are saying guys like Arvell Reese, but I'm really hoping Sonny Styles winds up being in the Jets uniform after this draft. So yeah, bringing Bart Scott in, man, I think at the very least he's going to bring some energy. He's going to bring us some excitement as a fan base. I think he would bring into the fan base what we thought we were going to be getting with AG. We were all excited about that. We had the energy. We don't really have that going into this season. So you bring in a guy like Bart Scott, I think you could reinvigorate the fan base a little bit because he is one of us, right? And I think that could go a long way. But yeah, I would be in for it if Bart Scott comes in as a linebackers coach. They still have a lot more hirings to do before they round out this coaching staff. So Bart Scott could very well be, if the rumors are true, that he's interested in coming in to be a coach, a linebackers coach. I would be on board with it. I don't know how y'all feel about it. At the very least, he would bring some energy that us as Jets fans could get behind. Tank for Ty, what's up? Tank for Ty. I think the main reason Frank Reich was brought in was to evaluate and solidify the QB position. And when I was doing my research in regards to the Frank Reich hire, right, I know there was a lot of bad that popped up, especially in the most recent years he spent in the NFL. But there's some truth there in terms of Frank Reich being, a quote unquote quarterback whisperer, right? Now, I know we're going to be careful about that because Adam Gase was also deemed such and that failed miserably. But Frank Reich has had some success with numerous quarterbacks. It wasn't just one guy like Peyton Manning who he got to ride his coattails to success. He's had some success with some individuals, and we want to talk about that as well. Love the Jets' new linebacker coach. Does this mean Reese is the first pick? Who is the Jets' new linebacker coach? I might be missing something here, Jimmy. I don't know if Arvell Reese is going to be the first pick, man. So with Arvell Reese, right? I think when you look at him, you love the guy's measurables, right? Like it's easy to look at Arvell Reese and be like, wow, right? You can get creative mentally, and you can start seeing yourself get this kid to hit his ceiling, right? But I think with him also comes a low floor because you look at him and you're thinking like Michael Parsons, and Michael Parsons was an anomaly, right? He's an outlier, not the kind of guy that I'm saying that usually sees the level of success he's seen in the NFL. And do you have a creative enough mind in Aaron Glenn to really go out there and get a guy like Arvell Reese that you're going to need to go ahead and kind of scheme for to kind of really take advantage of his measurables? So I don't know if Arvell Reese is the guy. Again, at this point with this draft class, it wouldn't shock me at all what moves they wind up making. But man, I don't know. I think personally, if we go Arvell Reese, it's an exciting pick. I don't know if it's the right pick, right? I really think we should be considering either Bain with that number 2 overall pick or one of the top wide receivers. And then I really love Sonny Styles as the linebacker that you would bring in to be the off ball linebacker. I just think that guy brings that old school mentality for you. He can do a lot of what Campbell is doing for Detroit. So that's where I look at when I see him. I'm like, I think that will be more of an Aaron Glenn guy. Um, but again, this draft class is really going to be a lot of guesswork because I just don't know. I don't know how much of it is going to be Muji actually making these picks to benefit the overall roster, and how much AG is going to have a say in making these picks to try and find a home run that can potentially save his job for next year. And that's going to be a battle of that we're going to have to watch during the offseason and, of course, during the combine and then again in the draft to see who winds up winning that, because Muji can still be here next year and have an opportunity to go ahead and pick another head coach if he picks to make the New York Jets better. But if he allows Aaron Glenn to go and fill this team up with more Aaron Glenn guys, I'm talking about in free agency and, of course, in the draft, I think there could be an issue there. That could be a problem because I don't see a scenario in which Aaron Glenn winds up being the coach after mid season of next year. It's just a lot of things would have to go right for him. And I guess that's why I'm thinking about the Frank Reich hire, and I I don't know if this makes the team better. I really don't, because on the one hand, you're talking about him being like that quarterback whisperer, which I understand, right? But on the other hand, who's the quarterback? Do we think Frank Reich would be good enough to fix Justin Fields? I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying, like, do we really think Justin Fields has that in him? Another question you'd have to wonder about, right? Now Reich is also coming off of a stint at Stanford where didn't do too well, and he's also a failed head coach in terms of runs he had in Indy and then that 1-10 run he had in Carolina. But this isn't a guy who's exuberating a lot of faith and confidence because of his successes, you know what I'm saying, in recent history. Um, I think back in 2015 with the Chargers, he operated an offense that finished 31st in rushing. And then in 2016 with the Eagles, this guy steered the ship to the tune of the 24th or 25th best passing yards in a season. Like, this is the coach that was fired literally mid-season in back-to-back years, and that's a first and only in NFL history. So we're looking at Frank Reich. I would have to say you're looking at him, man, to really become an outlier, right? Like, is it a veteran present, or is it just the Jets getting the band back together from the worst era in franchise history? Because you got to incorporate that as well. These are two guys who played together under that Kotite era, man. Like in that Kotite season where they won one game. It was arguably some of the worst football we as a fan base have ever had to witness. Now these two guys are being tasked with turning the ship around, like being the guys who figure this thing out. So it kind of feels like we're trying to fix a leak in a submarine with a piece of chewing gum from like 1996. Like that's the vibe you're getting as you're watching this off season come together. Again, not sure if that's a good thing or not, but I wouldn't even say the right hire really is even the biggest story, because if you're thinking about the situation when it comes to AG, you're hearing the news coming out of One Jets Drive, which is kind of concerning, right? Woody, of course, doing Woody things, and he pretty much told AG that he couldn't hire a defensive coordinator. Apparently, Wink Martindale was on the verge of getting an offer, and then AG had to fly to Florida to go ahead and finalize approvals with Woody, and Woody pretty much told him, like, I'm paying you $12 million a year. Why am I paying? I'm going to pay a defensive coordinator another $5-6 million when that is your specialty, right? So he pretty much told AG to F off. I'm not paying that much money to bring in an experienced defensive coordinator, and that he pretty much wants him to take over the defensive play calling for 2026. So Glenn wound up hiring Brian Duker, right? So this is going to be a first-time defensive coordinator, but let's be honest, he's going to essentially be a paper coordinator while Glenn holds the headset. So he's going to be there to get Glenn water and to make sure that freaking his play cards are dry and readable. So I think Glenn's in survival mode. I'm sorry, man. I think he's in survival mode. He's going into year 2 with a 3-14 record, and he knows he's very much on the hot seat. And so you got to wonder, if he knows he's going down, maybe him having his own play sheet is the way he wanted him to go down. So no one he can actually pass the buck off to and say it was this person's defense or that person's defense, like it's his, right? So maybe that'd be a good thing. if he had more time, if he had more time, I think Aaron Glenn could potentially be able to juggle both things easier, right? And I know I was on record as saying like, why wasn't he calling the plays, or why we see other head coaches on the offensive side of the football, like Liam Cohen and freaking Ben Johnson were calling their own plays, and I didn't understand why Aaron Glenn wasn't. But they're different in the sense that those guys are successful, I guess you can say, at their job, right? And when you start thinking about it, man, when Glenn called plays for the Lions 2021 to like 2023, the defense were often bottom tier in points allowed. They had some high EPA play metrics, you could say that, but the talent and buy-in wasn't there early on. And I don't know if Glenn has the time to get that from this Jets team. So I personally I don't know if we've got play callers right now in the building that's going to really take us out of this nightmare situation where we're all feeling like the season's already over before it starts. Because if you ask yourself, man, you saw how Glenn coached this year, and I don't think any of us look at what Glenn did this year and we feel compelled to say, yeah, nah, this guy's got it figured out. I don't think any of us can honestly sit here and think that Aaron Glenn, you know what I'm saying, hit any kind of metrics for a head coach that make us feel like, okay, capitalize on that and you're going to be great. Statistically speaking, Aaron Glenn is probably most likely going to fail. That's what the data says. Data says that a coach that started off the way he did, historically speaking, doesn't go ahead and turn the ship around. They just don't. So is Glenn going to be spread too thin? Like, can he really manage the locker room while trying to solve the puzzle of Josh Allen and Drake May on Sundays? I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, I know I'm being cynical, but let's look at why Woody Johnson and Darren Muji think this may work. Okay, let's look at the positive. So Frank Reich, let's go back to it. I know somebody mentioned they brought him in because of his ability to potentially be that that quarterback guru, right? The guy who can go ahead and get the quarterback right. And I got to say this, Reich does have some positives. Okay, like the Carson Wentz, Nick Foles success is something you can look at and kind of say, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like that was like the 2017 Eagles season. I would say that's probably like his crown jewel, right? In terms of his resume, he helped Carson Wentz reach an MVP caliber. MVP caliber level that year, if we're being honest with it. And then when Wentz went down, he seamlessly transitioned the offense to Nick Foles, which culminated in them winning a Super Bowl. They got a Super Bowl victory out of it. And then you got to think about the Phillip Rivers era, and of course the generational talent in Andrew Luck that he got to coach up. He coached Phillip Rivers for some of his most efficient years in San Diego and Indianapolis, and oversaw Andrew Luck's 2018 or 19 comeback player of the year campaign. I want to say it was 2018, but that was him. Those were his offenses. Now he is known for being calm under pressure, and his scheme can offer some flexibility in terms of adaptability, and of course to cater to the strengths of what he has. You got to give props where props are due, and that's what we've seen. This is what allowed him to become a head coach in the NFL, where these kind of like wickets he was hitting as an offensive minded head coach. So he does have that quarterback whisperer moniker. That's a real thing. Maybe he can reach or maybe elevate whoever is behind center comes to term, because let's be honest, we still don't know who that's going to be. I'm not saying Frank Reich is going to be an absolute failure. I'm just saying recent history has not shown him having much success in the NFL. When you're a head coach that gets fired midseason in back-to-back years for two different franchises, like that's telling. That's telling, man, and that's concerning. And we're the Jets. It's hard for me to look at this and think like, you know what, for us, it's going to work out. Like we're going to be the team that somehow, some way makes this work. And yeah, man, there's a lot of questions about this Frank Reich. Now, I know some people like the hire, some people will hate it. I think I'm at the point where I'm just indifferent, right? Because again, if let's say Frank brings in Greg Roman to be his run game coordinator, I think those two collectively could put together some pretty awesome like game plans. I mean, awesome is a strong word. Some pretty fun game plans on Sundays, right? Because again, I do believe that freaking Reich is an X's and O's guy, right? That he does really well in terms of prep, and I like that the fact that he can adapt when things don't pan out in a game. He attempts to adapt. Now, again, if you got the quarterback that can go ahead and handle it, that helps. But he's that coach that's willing to go ahead and make the adjustments mid-game if need be to go ahead and get on the board. So again, the coaching staff has not been finalized yet. They still need to go ahead and round out their assistants and positional coaches. Frank Reich, I think again, is maybe he's over the hill, right? This is a guy who was talking about retiring before he took this job. So there's a lot of question marks in regards to like, all right, my guy, why take this job if you're preparing to walk away? And yeah, man, it's it leaves a lot, you know what I'm saying, to be excited about. And that's just how I feel about the Frank Reich situation. Now you got the Aaron Glenn situation, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That's concerning in its own right. That's concerning in its own right. And I see some of you guys already talking about it. Uh, the Freedom House. I just hope we stay away from offense. I think we have a whole new coaching staff next year. Defense will transition better. Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I think come next year, you're looking at a full shift, right? In terms of coaching staff, I don't believe we're going to have this coaching staff is done. I really don't think we make it past mid-season next year, and that's saying a lot because it's freaking February, and you're looking at the moves being made, and you're looking at the progress we had throughout the season, and it's already looking kind of dire. Um, Twisted V says AG distancing stuff from the D instead of taking the helm. Scary, 100%. That is scary, and I think this is why when we're hearing about him taking over the defense, I have more questions than I have answers to, and this is why I think it could potentially go very, very bad, very, very fast. Because AG, the defensive-minded head coach, when the defense that recorded 0 interceptions, by the way, a first ever in NFL history, um, distanced himself from his defense as if he had no part of it. This is the same coach that wanted us to believe that he oversees everything, that he is a part of every single process that entails his team. But when that defense was brought up, well, Wilkes' defense, it was Wilkes' defense that didn't record an interception all season. Listen, I again, I'm concerned about what this team is going to look like for us in 2027 or 2026. But at the end of the day, like if it sucks, it sucks. Because 2027, I think, with the new coaching staff, with 3 first-round picks, but probably the first overall pick, you might be able to entice some coach to take a swing. Again, a lot of people say nobody's going to want to come here, and with Woody there, it's always going to be a problem. But it's still one of 32 jobs, man. And so I think when you've got resources, a head coach might look at that and think to himself, okay, I've got $200 million in cap space. I've got 3 first-round draft picks. I can fix this. I can go in there right now, and I've got some pieces. You like the offensive line. We've already talked about that. The offensive line looks good. You've got a wide receiver 1 in Garrett Wilson. The running back situation's up in the air. You got a couple of pieces on the defensive line. You know what I'm saying? Jason Brownlee looked really promising. Like, Daisy Thomas, maybe. There's some pieces you can get. You can sell yourself into wanting to come here. So I'm I don't know how bad this is going to get. I don't think it's going to be good. I just don't know how bad it's going to get. Nobody in Just Land wants Simpson at number 2. No, hell no. Yeah, Jimmy, I'm with you on that one. I don't want Ty Simpson. I don't. I don't. I just not number 2. If somehow he falls and you want to get him with that first, second rounder, fine. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of if Ty Simpson is on this roster this year, if he gets drafted by us, that's an AG move. That's a 100% AG move, and I'm saying that because he's going to take the swing in the hopes that Ty Simpson can become something that can save his job. I'm telling y'all, man, because you don't like he's an older prospect. He doesn't really do anything that excites you. You know what I'm saying? There's no like, what's his superpower? What is Ty Simpson's superpower? Like he can do a bunch of things okay. He's like Mac Jones to me. That's what he looks. He reminds me of Mac Jones in terms of you can do a bunch of things okay, but you've got no superpower. And I think that's my concern in regards to bringing in a guy like Ty Simpson, especially if you're going to draft him with one of these first rounders. You're not making the team better. And again, with a coach that's going to be out the door by mid-season, now you've invested this capital in regards to this quarterback. Is the new coaching staff going to be tied to that quarterback? Are they going to be forced? Because with Woody being involved the way he is, are they going to be forced to have to develop this guy, or can they go and get their own guy in 2027? So yeah, man, it's it's kind of a shitty situation for us to be in as Jets fans because we really don't know what to expect. This whole offseason thus far has been quite nightmarish. Like, cause it's not fun. We usually have fun as Jets fans going through the offseason because it's a time of year where we can actually kind of shine because we usually have a pretty good draft pick and we can sell out. We used to be able to sell ourselves on having a good roster. We just needed a couple pieces here and there. But this is a legitimate full like rebuild. Like this team is nowhere near close. Talent wise, coaching wise, we need pieces. We need help. So wasting a piece on a guy like Ty Simpson is, to me, it would be the most foolish thing we could do because it doesn't allow you the opportunity to go ahead and really cultivate a base or a foundation that can go ahead and get this team situated, their feet on the ground. So I don't want to see that kid drafted. Not because not even that. I just don't think we're ready for a quarterback this year. We're really not. Like it sucks to say that, but the quarterback that winds up being the starter for the New York Jets this year, especially if you're a rookie, bro, we're asking this kid to do too much already. Because the team, the roster needs help. He's gonna need help. Yes, the offensive line looks pretty good, but Mason Taylor, I like what I saw in Mason Taylor. Garrett Wilson, we all love Garrett Wilson. I don't think Brees Hall's coming back personally. If you had to ask me today, I think Brees Hall's gonna walk. So who's running back? So we like Braylon Allen, but do we really think he's RB1? Could he be RB1? Um, there's just so many question marks in we don't have the support structure right now for a quarterback to come in here and be successful. We just don't. We don't have the coaching. We don't have the support structure. So I think you just take a swing at a veteran option for 2026, and then you put these picks to use to really building the foundation, right? Getting some football players in the building, and then you're talking about getting your quarterback next year. I don't think we're ready for a rookie quarterback this year. Um, and I again, it's a weaker quarterback class. You know what I'm saying? Again, that remains to be seen. It might wind up being a great quarterback class in 5 years when everyone drafted, the second or third round winds up being NFL starters. Who knows? You never know with these guys. Um, but for now, when you're looking at it evaluation wise, it's a weak quarterback class. So I think you hold off. You hold off on getting your quarterback until next year. That's my thought process on it. V Twisted, AG ran the Lions D for 4 years, and it was under the brag about. Honestly, man, so this is the crazy part. So I think AG Aaron Glenn name had more value than his actual production. I think being on that Lions team and seeing that Lions succeed as a whole really elevated AG in terms of becoming a head coach. Because when you really look at it, he had one good year in 4 years as the defensive coordinator for the freaking Lions. And it was the last year, 2023. 2023. I would even call 2024 a good year. That was rough. 2023 was the only time he had a top 10 defense coaching the freaking Lions defense. Like, yeah. So we'll go back to right now. When the Lions defense finally started to click, that was in 2023. And one, they were very aggressive. They had the components, the pieces together for AG to take some risks, take some shots, lots of man. But the Jets, I wouldn't say the Jets are there now to be able to go ahead and operate an AG defense like that 2023 Lions team did. I don't think the pieces are all there. Now, if the Jets draft correctly, right, and they roster some talent, and the roster talent currently on the roster can get healthy. You bring in a couple of free agents that can go ahead and add buy-in and kind of, move this thing along. if you buy into the hybrid 4-3-3-4 scheme of Aaron Glenn, I mean, they could actually probably be a top 10 unit, top 15 unit. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know it's a lot of ifs, but there is a chance. But I'm telling you this because it took AG 3 years before his defense cracked the top 10. So, yeah, I'm with you, Twisted V. Like, the Lions defense, man, wasn't nothing to brag about. They took some time to develop, and AG doesn't have the time. Now, on paper, you've got two veteran leaders who've been through the fire. And let's be honest, both of those guys have been through it. Maybe, just maybe, the experience can kind of stabilize the ship. There is there is a chance that both of the sorry, man, the Knicks game is on, and I just saw they tied 108-108, and then I just saw the almost 3-pointer that one. I'm sorry, I just got distracted there for a second. But what was I? Yeah, like there's a chance. There's a chance right between these two guys being veterans who've been through it all that they could go ahead and kind of stabilize the shit. There's a chance. I mean, there's another chance that this could be both of their opportunities to have like a redemption story. This could be their redemption story in terms of coaching up the Jets and getting it right. But now, let's look at the math, though. Let's look at the math. Statistically speaking, what happens to 64-year-old OCs who have been fired from their last two NFL jobs? What happens to a struggling head coach who takes over play calling while trying to be the CEO? Listen, if you're asking me to bet money on it, the outcome is not going to be pretty. I'm sorry. I think the Jets offense is going to remain stagnant. I really do because the scheme is outdated. We don't have the quarterbacks identified. And whatever quarterback we do bring into the building is not going to be a freaking game changer. So I think the offense is going to suffer because of it. I think the defense is going to regress because Glenn can't manage the big picture, not only of the game, but also the nuances of the defense at the same exact time. You're supposed to be the head coach and the defensive coordinator. You struggled being the head coach last year. Now we're asking him to do both. I think it's going to be a tough ask that Aaron Glenn can put this all together and winds up, you know what I'm saying, seeing success. Honestly, Jets fans, I'm sorry to say this, man. The 2026 season to me is going to end up in more of another 2 to 4 win disaster. I think the Jets are significantly more closer to getting the first overall pick than winning 5 games this year. That's how I feel about this team. And again, it starts with the coaching, and then it trickles down. I think right now we're looking at needs at edge rusher. Will McDonald is a situational guy. JJ didn't look the same. Now you're hoping he bounces back after that year, right, from the Achilles. Maybe he bounces back and he shows you something. But right now you've got holes on your defensive line. That's concerning. You've got holes in your secondary. You've got holes at linebacker. Yeah, you've got some money to spend this offseason. I don't think it's going to be enough to go ahead and get everything you need, but you've got some cash. Ultimately, for me, this is your by 2027, Woody Johnson will be cleaning house. He will. And I'm saying that because I think Frank Reich might be an interim head coach by midseason, right? So by 2027, when it all falls, he'll clean house. We'll be looking at the number 1 overall pick. Aaron Glenn will probably be a DB coach somewhere else. And Frank Reich will probably finally retire, move to Florida and whatnot. And the Jets will be interviewing the next offensive genius while fans wear paper bags at MetLife. That's what I'm seeing for us. It's the same cycle, Jets fans. It is, man. We hired the past to try and fix the future. Like, I want to be wrong. Like, I really want to be wrong. But history says chances are I'm right. And that's just frustrating. It's frustrating to live like this as Jets fans. B Twisted says, Mohamed Rex had 2 good years, first and second out of 5 to 6 years. Rex was a great DC, but wasn't a good head coach. He proved that going to the Bills. Yeah. Again, love Rex Ryan. Love Rex Ryan, man. Like, he was definitely a fun coach. And I know there was a lot of rumblings of bringing him back as like to be the head coach for the Jets when we were looking. I think a lot of us are just fell in love with the nostalgia of Rex, right? That just I'm gonna get a snack. Like, he just had a lot of freaking like moments that resonate with us because let's be honest, it's the last time the Jets were relevant as well. I don't think Rex Ryan is a good head coach. I don't think he's the kind of X's and O's guys you need to have in the NFL this day and age to really see success. He's fun. I would bring him in as a DC, no doubt. But I don't think you can go ahead and give him the reins, you know what I'm saying, like to the roster. Mohammed goes, for all this coaching nonsense, they should just brought back Rex Lynn really ain't coach a top 10 defense. I don't know if I would have made again. I don't know if I would have made Rex the head coach, but as the defensive coordinator, yeah, 100%. Now Rex didn't want to do that. Rex said he wanted to come back as a head coach. I don't think he's going to get another opportunity in the NFL to be a head coach because again, once his scheme got exposed, it got exposed, right? Like heavy blitz scheme, you know what I'm saying? Again, fun to watch. You had to have the players on board to make it work, and when he did, it was fun. When he didn't, you saw the struggles, you saw the holes. And then when he went to Buffalo, I think somebody else mentioned it too. You saw just how bad it can get. Yeah, no, I don't think he winds up being a head coach again in the NFL. If he wants to coach again, he'll have to be a defensive coordinator, and I think that'll be fun. AG's in a tight spot. Load the D and lose because field goals won't cut it, but he doesn't have the time to build correctly. 100%. And that's 100%. And this is what I keep saying in regards to Muji being able to go ahead and save himself. If he drafts to make the New York Jets better, he'll be picking his next head coach. But if he allows Aaron Glenn to draft to kind of save his job, they'll both be out by midseason. And then the team is another year behind on actually getting better. Unfortunately for AG, man, the way that first year went is it's just tough to come back from. It's tough to come back from. It's gross, actually. You know what I'm saying? Like that was an embarrassment on so many levels that there's really no excuse if I'm being honest, man. There's no excuse. So I think ultimately AG's not going to have the time necessary to go ahead and fix this thing. If you were going to give him 4 years, 3 years, yeah, I could say the defense could probably get right. You know what I'm saying? That's how long it took him with the Lions. But again, he took him 4 years just to scratch being a top 10 defense with the Lions, like overall defense. So it wasn't like he was like a top 5 or a top. He was like I think number 9 defense overall in that 2023 season. So and that's not to knock it. That's a great thing. But again, like in terms of the hype we've put on Aaron Glenn, I think there's some honesty we need to have about that in regards to like he was an average defensive coordinator. And I think average is being kind, right? We love AG. We love what we saw with the Lions resurgence. That was awesome. But if we're being honest with ourselves, AG was an average addition to that team as a defensive coordinator. Um, Somebody said something about drafting. I just saw. Okay, here we go. I will be mad if Lemon is there. They don't pick him at 16. Jimmy, I'm 100% with you. I think if you go Bane at 2, which I think is, I feel pretty good about that being the choice, right? So you go Bane at 2, and Lemon's available for you at 16. As much as I love Sonny Styles, I think you've got to go Lemon. In today's NFL, man, offense right now is what's killing. That's what's making these teams operate. You get Lemon, you've got a legitimate number 1 and 1B receiver on this roster. When you get your quarterback next year, you're helping that kid out. You really are. You're helping that kid out. Throw it over there somewhere. You've got one of 2 guys who can catch it for you. Left side, right side of the field, whatever. Like that to me is how you help your young quarterback in the future, specifically when you've got the offensive line already kind of dialed in the way you do. So yeah, I'm with you, Jimmy. I'd be a little upset if that wasn't the case. Brian stated that the Lions defense was playing complimentary football while the O scored points. 100%. Those were team wins. Those were team wins. So I'll be the first to admit, even if AG was to kind of get this defense looking competent, playing well, right? If the offense is lagging behind, those guys are going to get tired eventually, right? And then we're going to lose games. We saw this time and time again with Salah when the defense was operating and the offense couldn't. We were losing games. So for me, I'm with you, man. Like you need both sides to function and to win games. It don't matter if the defense looks great and you're still freaking 0-6, you're getting fired. AG's gonna still get fired. So yeah, like the Lions did it. It was team ball that allowed the Lions to go ahead and see their turnaround as quickly as they did. And I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Frank Reich ain't no freaking Ben Johnson. So I'm not expecting the offense to go ahead and look like that. Right. I saw a fire team member. Boom, Nate, what's going on, brother? 12 months. Gunny's fire team, Charlie. I appreciate your support, man. Thank you very much for being a fire team member. All right, Nate. So your question is D-line hire was the best part of the offseason. Sad times. Yeah, nah. I mean, yeah, nah, that's facts. There hasn't been a lot to celebrate. And I don't know if there's going to be. Now, if they bring in a guy like freaking Bart Scott or whatnot, you can get excited about that. That'd be fun. Um, if they do bring like Greg Roman to be the running game coordinator, I think that could actually be kind of exciting for what we could see the offense opening up with Frank and Greg both coming up with game plans on Sundays. So that might elevate this hire of Frank. But yeah, right now, man, it's the D-line hire. It's been a frustrating offseason for us. And as Jets fans, it's about to get worse because on Sunday, we're about to watch the Patriots play in another Super Bowl. And we have to root for Sam Darnold on offense and Leonard Williams on defense, two former first round draft picks for the New York Jets, to save the day and prevent the Patriots from winning another Super Bowl. Like that's where we're at as Jets fans. We have to root for two players we let get away to go beat the team that's kicked our teeth in and that we hate, you know what I'm saying, with every fiber of our beings in the Super Bowl. Talk about a terrible offseason. That's been our story. That's been our story. Appreciate you, Nate. Let me see. So Ryu states, I was watching Jets X Factor and he said the modern NFL is very different from back then. Rah stuff doesn't work. It's all about scheming and playing chess. Other players have commented on this too. And that's Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn's a rah guy. He's not an X's and O's guy. Like, this is the guy that will scream, you know what I'm saying? I know how to coach. I'm a coach. We've heard him say it this time. I'm a coach. I'm not just a defensive coach. I'm a coach. I've coached every aspect of the game. But all you do is you yell at people and get in their faces, and you're a motivator. You're a motivational speaker, you know what I'm saying, that winds up being a head coach. And there's nothing wrong with that back in the day. Today, X's and O's. You're literally out there. You're playing freaking, I guess chess is it's chess, man. You got to go ahead and outsmart the other individual. You got to think several moves ahead. You got to know what's coming before it comes. And I'm sorry, man. Aaron Glenn ain't that guy. He ain't that guy, right? Like, this is a dude, you know what I'm saying? You need a fine-tuned instrument, you know what I'm saying, to do the job, and he's bringing a hammer, right? He's a head coach in the wrong era of NFL football, unfortunately for him. Wrong era. That stuff would have worked in the Bill Parcells era. This is the stuff that he keeps talking about. Bill Parcells is my mentor, this, that, and the other. Cool. Bill Parcells, I think, had a little bit of both, though. He could do the X's and O's aspect, and he was a motivational guy. Motivational guys could have worked back then. But nowadays, man, you need to go ahead and show up prepared with a legitimate game plan, a battle plan to go head to head against whoever's across the field. Because these offenses are coming to embarrass you. And if you're not prepared, they're going to. Yeah, man, the Jets X Factor, they do incredible work, man, in terms of analyzing not just like games and play calling and players, but kind of just breaking down a lot of what makes the NFL great. Like, if Woody was going to hire someone to figure out who their next head coach should be, stop with this nonsense of hiring the 33rd team. Why is Mike Tannenbaum giving you advice on what coaches and GMs you should be bringing into the building? Call Jets X Factor. Those guys actually give a damn. They actually do the work. They do the homework. They understand what the current landscape of the NFL looks like. That's who you should be calling. V-Twist, and I will admit, with Rex came the Jets. He did bring key defense with him, but in time, it just died. No, 100%. Rex brought guys who bought into the scheme, right? So we can go ahead and implement it. And when those guys were gone, and he had to coach up other guys, younger guys, to go ahead and do it, it never registered. It never registered, man. And then the defense went from being fun to watch, fast, violent, to just getting embarrassed week in and week out. People just kept picking them off in terms of finding the holes in the defense consistently. It was never going to be one of those things that can go ahead and you can keep going And yeah, Rex got exposed, man. And again, I love Rex Ryan. Love Rex Ryan to this day. Love Rex Ryan because he's one of the coaches that in the 21st century has provided us with a lot of joy watching our Jets play. But it was short lived, and once the game tape was out on Rex Ryan, any offensive mind did coach with two brain cells to put together understood this is a pressure based freaking defensive scheme with a lot of blitzing coming. They're exotic blitzes, but it's going to be a blitz, and they were tearing us apart. So yeah, man, I love Rex. I'm saying like I don't think he's going to see the love Rex Ryan, bro. But I think the NFL head coaching aspect is past him. And again, if he wants to come back to defensive coordinator and maybe he wanted to recreate himself, I'm interested. I'd love to go ahead and see it. Especially when you're looking at a team right now, it's not giving you much to really enjoy or be excited about to watch. Uh, yeah, the Freedom House. This makes perfect sense. You can't afford a real defensive coordinator, but you can afford the 33rd the 33rd team type cheap billionaire. Like, listen, I said this the other day on the Nick Shine podcast. I hate the Patriots. I hate them with a passion. But I'll tell you this, man. They've got they've got an owner in Robert Kraft that cares about his legacy more than he cares about his pockets. He's a man who understands that he wants to win and he will do whatever it takes to win. He will still negotiate with a coach that's been already signed. We've experienced that. He'll fire a coach, doesn't care about the optics after 1 year because he understands this guy doesn't have it. I'm going to bring in a guy that does. And now, boom, his team's in the Super Bowl after having 3 or 4 wins last year. Tells you everything you need to know. Robert Kraft is an NFL owner that's in this for the wins. Doesn't care about the money. Doesn't care about what his bank account looks like. This guy wants to win, and he shows it day in and day out when it comes to freaking being the owner of the Patriots. We don't have that. Woody Johnson is a businessman. He's here purely for the freaking economics of it. This is one big ATM for him. He's here to make sure his pockets continue to go ahead and get fatter and that his kids and their kids and then those kids have generational wealth. For him, it's about the money. It's not about legacy. And that is ooh, what a game. What a defensive stance. Let's go, boys. My bad. My bad. Whew. All right. So yeah, I think as long as Woody is the owner of this team, man, we're going to see a lot of this, where you make these kind of ridiculous decisions. And I'll tell you this, man, I'm not even mad that they didn't want to pay a defensive coordinator. I'm um I'm agitated. I'm agitated because um you you didn't have to embarrass our organization the way you did in terms of let AG go through this entire process with the expectation that he could go ahead and bring in a defensive coordinator just to go ahead and shut it down when it was down to like to the wire. That part agitates me to my core because we're already a laughing stock and you're making it easier to be a laughing stock. You didn't have to do it that way. Again, I understand the thought process. You're giving $12 million a year to freaking Aaron Glenn, right? He's a defensive minded coach. You gave him the money for a guy last year, and it was horrendous. And Aaron Glenn did all he could to make sure he pushed himself away from that. Cool. We fired everybody that you hired last year. I'm not going to give you more money to go waste. I understand that logic. But why wasn't this a conversation you had with him at the beginning of the offseason? Before he was given the green light to go ahead and start interviewing coaches. Before you had this huge skeptical of, let's go. That's 9 in a row. That's 9 in a row. Oh no. What? Sorry. Official review. If they call that, I'm gonna lose my mind. Did he actually foul him? Oh my gosh, it's a three. Where? Yeah, no, it's after time expired. Yeah, no, that doesn't count. Sorry, guys, my bad. This game is ridiculous. I apologize, y'all. This wasn't supposed to be a live stream of the Knicks game. There's no what? All right, y'all. Um, point 0.3 seconds. This is gonna agitate me because I that was not was that a bruh? It's that the clock hit zero, man. All right, point 0.3 seconds. He needs to drain both of these freaking field goals or free throws in order for it to go into double overtime. Anyway, but yeah, that's the show, guys. That's the show. I just I don't know. I I've been saying this whole offseason, man. As Jets fans, I'm just giving y'all the heads up. Get ready for the struggle. It's gonna be a tough season. It's gonna be a tough season. 2026 is gonna suck. I don't think there's a situation where you look at it and you feel good about how things look going into it. Now, granted, maybe they shock us in terms of some trade or some acquisition, or I would love for them to bring in Jameis Winston. I think that would make at least the season kind of fun if Jameis Winston is like the quarterback. That'd be kind of fun. But damn it, man, overtime. My bad, Jimmy. I know this is a Jet show, and I'm talking watching the Knicks. Okay, but nevertheless, he about to miss. I was hoping, Jimmy. I was really hoping he was. Um, I know I forgot, man. Jets, most of y'all are Knicks fans too, so this is win-win for everybody. But all right, y'all, that's the show, man. I think we need to prepare for a tough 2026. I do. I think if we're honest with ourselves, this season is not. It's not going to be fun. But we all have the as Jake Asman's been saying, the march for Arch, right? Like that's already started. I'm hearing people talk about like, oh no, the Mannings will never let him come here, and I don't believe that. If you have the first overall pick, the Mannings will let him come over here. The Mannings the whole thing in regards to Peyton Manning when he went back to school, when Bill Parcells did not give him the assurance that he would be the number one overall pick. People keep forgetting that part. Like he wanted to know would he be the number one overall pick. Wouldn't give the assurance that he would be. And so they're like, all right, go back to school. For them, it's about being the number one overall pick. And I think the Jets very well might have that pick to go get Arch Manning next year. So this is gonna be tough, man. This is gonna be tough. I just I'm trying to find the positives. Like we want to find the positive as a fan base, but they're they're not making it easy for us. They're not making it easy for us. Ah man. Oh man. You know what? Let's just see if they pull this off. Point 0.3 seconds. Oh, all right. He just threw it up there, kind of hoping. All right, V Twisted, last one. 5-12 this year, guys. I feel like ass saying this before the draft, but I've seen enough. No, like it's sad, but again, as a fan base, we've seen so much bad football that we see it coming. Like we've seen so much bad that we're like, the only way this doesn't turn out bad is if there's a miracle happen. It's got to be a miracle. God intervention. God has to literally play football for the New York Jets. You ever seen that movie Angels in the Outfield? It had like Danny Glover in it, man. It's like little kid was an orphan, and he loved like the Angels, actually the Angels, Major League Baseball team, the Angels, and little orphan kid prayed one night to have the Angels be good because his dad told him like, hey, the next time you'll see me, man, like the Angels need to make the pennant or something like that, and kid prayed to God and whatnot, and God sent the kid angels, literally sent angels down to help the Angels win baseball games. And they did. They won baseball games. They made it to the pennant, whatnot. And then the kid's dad was still a jerk, didn't show up. But it's called Angels in the Outfield. Listen, That's what we need as Jets fans. We need Angels to come down and play football, and they would shock us. Like, if the Jets start winning games this year, I'm going to believe there are Angels in the outfield that I just can't see. There's Angels in the field out there with these guys that I just can't see. So ultimately, Jets Worldwide said it best, man. Just stay positive. Just stay positive. I mean, we're still gonna watch the games. We're still gonna go to the games. We're Jets fans. We're different. Oh, that reminds me. I want to shout out. There's a T-shirt that I ordered from a Jets content creator I found on TikTok. I think it's like Jack and his son. It's like it's a guy and his son. He talks about he's raising his son to be a Jets fan. He's a baby, good looking baby, right? Cute baby. And he's just, you see him doing content, and he's just like talking to his son what a hate watch looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like why the Jets suck, but nevertheless, he's a Jets fan because loyalty over logic, and he has these shirts, and I ordered 2 of them. I'm gonna be rocking them hopefully next podcast. But yeah, definitely the kind of, when it comes to Jets fans, loyalty over logic. We're loyal, man. We're loyal, even though we know this team is going to hurt us. We know this team's going to hurt us. We're loyal to a fault. Loyal to a fault. Loyalty over logic. I think that's a great saying. Like he's selling these shirts. I'm gonna get the link, and I'm gonna go ahead and post the link because it's pretty awesome when you really think about it and how it talks to us as Jets fans. But man, is that Nick Shine? What's up, Nick? That's my guy. Yeah, just as I'm getting off, man. 9 toes in the house. 9 toes in the... Hey, if you know, you know, right? Like Nick Shine's in the building, 9 toes in the house. If you know, you know. But yeah, that's the show, guys. That's the show. Listen, I'm your guy, Gunny, man, and this has been the hanger. This is the hanger, and these are supposed to be like fun, and we're supposed to be freaking getting our therapy, but therapy sessions don't always have to be positive. So good luck to us all, because we're gonna need it. It's going to be that type of season. But maybe God will have mercy on our souls, and we'll see something that we weren't expecting. Jets Worldwide, thank you, sir. It's Joe and Jax. Listen, if you haven't followed Joe and Jax on TikTok, he's primarily on TikTok, but he's also on Instagram. I'm telling you, man, great content, and it speaks to us as a fan base. It speaks to Jets fans, because my daughter, who as a baby, so I don't know if y'all know the story, but I got 4 kids. My wife's a Packers fan. I'm a Jets fan. When we got married, we had an agreement that whichever team had the best season the year of our child's birth, that parent gets to claim that kid as a fan for life, right? So needless to say, my oldest will be 16 this year. So I got my baby. So when the Packers, they made the playoffs, but they were a wild card, we went further along in the playoffs. So I got KK. So my baby girl, first baby I had, Jets fan. As you obviously know, my 13-year-old, my 12-year-old, and my 10-year-old are not Jets fans. They are obviously Packers fans because the Packers have significantly outperformed us in that time frame. But my baby girl's never seen the playoff game. Never seen it. So like when Joe and Jax, like when he does his thing, I'm sitting there like, yo, this is me and KK, bro. Like I know how this feels. So I bought me and KK a shirt. Loyalty over logic. So appreciate you, Jets Worldwide, for sharing that. But yeah, go follow it, man. Though it's good stuff. Like it's really good stuff. Nick Shine, what's up, brother? 11:20 p.m. It's 11:20 over there. Good evening, gentlemen. Yes, 11:20. Oh, you're talking about like when you're getting back on your show, probably. Yeah, no, I'm going to sleep, dog. I got work in the morning. Appreciate you, Sean. Listen, everybody, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me at the hangar. I'll see you guys next week. All love, man. Again, Jets fans, just endure the suffering. Eventually, right? Eventually, it's got to get better. It's got to get better. I really believe that. All right, y'all. As always, go Jets.
I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you ever lost? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know